Alright, welcome back to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, and trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so you can easily choose the best watch for yourself in the comfort of your own home. We offer the lowest prices anywhere online, and if you'd like to know the price, simply click on the links in the description below. We greatly appreciate if you purchase your next watch from us at JazzTime.com. Today we'll be going over quite an interesting watch. I know I keep saying this, but I really mean it every single time I say it, because this is distinctive, elegant, and just plain awesome. Just take a look at it. It's the Rolex Sky-Dweller, reference number 326939 with an ivory dial, something you don't see every day. Certainly, also with Roman numerals, and in 18 karat white gold all throughout. We'll be going over the case, dial, the bezel functions, the crown functions, as well as the movement, the bracelet, and I'll be giving you my thoughts on all of these, as well as the wearing experience throughout this video. Alright, so starting off with the case, they have a 42mm case from finger to thumb. That's the diameter, 42mm, as you would expect from any Sky-Dweller. They don't make these in any other size, and unfortunately, I would love to have this in 36mm, but, you know, you can only wish. It has the monoblock case with the screw-down case back and the Rolex winding crown, and the bezel, all to ensure a water resistance down to 100 meters or 330 feet below sea level. Rather standard there. But what else is new? We have this bezel, fluted bezel, white gold as well, matching that of the rest of the watch, as you can see here, entirely in white gold. Matching also with the Roman numerals, also 18 karat white gold applique with an ivory dial. But what's interesting about this bezel, with every Sky-Dweller bezel, is that it's a command bezel. Started with the Yachtmaster 2 with the whole concept of basically affecting how the crown works. So I'll be going over that shortly, but originally this fluted bezel was mainly for just screwing directly onto the front of the case to ensure waterproofness, but you know, modern technology over time has sort of made that kind of not really needed anymore. So they decided to actually put function into the bezel once more to make it not only elegant in presentation, but highly functional as well. Alright, so taking a look at the dial, we have these Roman numeral hour marks, again 18 karat white gold, very nice and distinctive look overall, very easy to read against this ivory colored backdrop, with a sub-dial for a 24-hour GMT sort of style timekeeping, where the red triangle marks the hour, the increment in your hour. So this is currently after 1 a.m. or so, currently. 1 a.m., 10 minutes after 1 a.m., that's how you would read it. And taking a look at the watch hands here, again, also 18 karat white gold. And notice that the inner portions of these hands are actually skeletonized, and that is because when you take a look at how these hands are sort of presented, they're skeletonized where it matters. Right where the triangle is pointing, that's the extent of the skeletonization. Of course, you don't need it skeletonized, you know, all that much farther out, because you don't really need to read these numbers down at the bottom of this 24-hour dial, right? So you only really need to read them when you're close to the red triangle. Right? And so that just gives it a little bit of engineering that I believe Rolex has really thought out, and really genius from them. Okay, so anyway, on to the functions here. Now, you saw me rotate this bezel. That's because this is a command bezel, as I said earlier. All right, so if you rotate it all the way clockwise till it no longer, you know, rotates, this is sort of like the locked position where you generally want to keep it. All right, so simply unwind the crown to the first position. This allows you to wind the watch in every position of this bezel. So it doesn't matter where the bezel is, you can still wind the watch at the first position. You can pull out to the next position. Nothing will happen here, because this is, again, the sort of what I call the locked position. So you don't accidentally switch anything around while you're winding it. Very good security feature on this, right? So to go through all of the functions of this watch, you'll want to rotate it counterclockwise as far as you can. Doing so hacks that seconds hand so that you can then adjust the minute hand and by extension the 24-hour dial. All right, so you'll want to set the 24-hour dial first to whatever your time zone you want to set it to, right? So if you're GMT plus, say, 12, all right, that's your time zone, and set it to whatever minute of your current hour, all right? Simple as that. Now you can then move the bezel, rotate it clockwise to the next tick. It starts up that seconds hand, and now you can actually move the hour hand, right? And now here is where you set your time anywhere on the 20 or the 12-hour or 24-hour, depending on how you look at it. All right, as you can see, I passed the 12 o'clock hour noon, and then it goes past 24 hours and ticks up the date from there. All right, so set your current time, your local time. All right, so let's say it's 10 a.m. where I am currently, but the additional time zone I want to keep track of is GMT plus 12. Okay, now move the bezel again to the last position. This allows you to change, to rapid change the date. And something about this date is that it allows you to very rapidly switch it. It's a very, very short throw, and that's so that you can advance not only the date, but also the month. What is also represented in increments of 12 is the number of months. So as you move to the first of the next month, note that the month marker will actually move to the next little aperture for its corresponding month. All right. As you can see there, it has moved to the 2nd, which is February, and you can keep doing so forth. Now keep in mind that doing this with the rapid date setting is, well, interesting to say the least, because there is no February 30th, much less a February 31st. But Rolex has actually implemented what they call the Saros system. So let's say you're in February, and you happen to somehow, or no, let's say you're in April, all right? So we know April has 30 days. February is the only time you'll really need to set the date on here. So let's say this has happened somehow. You set it to the 31st of April. Well, April does not have 31 days. It actually has 30 days, right? So let's go back a couple days to the 29th, all right? Now, keep in mind that you're probably not going to actually set the rapid setting date here. So taking a look at how Saros actually works is it actually has an annual calendar built into the movement. So you can move the hour hand to simulate this. We'll go to April 30th, and then if we do the rapid setting, you can get to the 31st of April, which is impossible again. But if you use the Saros system, automatically it will actually go to May 1st directly, as you have just seen. All right, so this is a marvel of engineering that I believe Rolex has really exceeded, themselves with this, the engineering of this watch, the movement. It's very impressive what they have done with this. The only time where you'll ever have some sort of issue is in February because of leap years and so forth. Otherwise, this actually does keep in consideration which months have 30 days, which months have 31 days. So very useful there. All right, and once you're done setting all of that, you can simply press the crown in and wind it tightly against the case to ensure that superior water resistance. All right, so again, what makes all of this work? It is the movement reference, or the caliber 9001, which beats at a frequency of 28,800 vibrations per hour, or 4 hertz, has 40 joules, and has the, the paramagnetic blue parachrome hairspring with high performance Paraflex shock absorbers. You can't see it through the case back, but that's the security that they've added on there. So what does all that mean? The blue hairspring, as well as the Paraflex shock absorbers, basically make this so that you can get relatively close to magnets on a daily basis Most people don't usually work with magnets, otherwise you'd probably get a Milgauss for something like that. But for most people, this will work just fine. No magnetism will disturb the timekeeping ability of the movement. And also you can take a few bumps here and there. The Paraflex shock absorbers will absorb that shock and you'll be keeping track of time just fine. No issue there. It also boasts a plus or minus 2-second time differential per 24 hours. As stated also on the front, it exceeds the COSC standards, making this a superlative chronometer certified watch after casing. So that's extremely impressive. It also has a bidirectional internal rotor, so that once you wind this watch to its fullest capacity, about 20 to 30 full winds is all you need from a dead stop to get it to the full power capacity. Simply wearing this watch on your wrist with your natural wrist movements will allow you to keep this wound up to 72 hours of power reserve. That's literally 3 whole days. With all of the function here, I'm impressed. 72 hours, that's 3 whole days. That's basically the maximum any Rolex or any automatic winding watch has, with so much function built into it. It's impressive. It's amazing. All right. You can set this down on a Friday evening. You can pick it back up on a Monday morning. You don't even need to wind it. And you'll be ready to conduct business as usual. No issue there. All right. Taking a look at the framing here, we also have this Oyster bracelet. A white gold bracelet, high polish down the center with satin brush finishing along the sides, high polish along the sides of the bracelet, nice gentle taper down to the Oyster folding clasp. Opens as you would think, just simply lift the top and it unhooks. You have the Rolex stamped logo on the inside and you know that you're dealing with white gold, as you can see on these hallmarks on the inside. Speaking of hallmarks, you also have hallmarks on the backs of the lugs here, so that you know that you are also dealing with white gold in its entire construction. Okay, now while we're here, I can actually talk about this little thing here. This is a EasyLink 5mm extension. So here it is closed. Say you have this watch sized to your wrist nice and snug. Well, say you reach a really, really hot day, you just had a bowl of ramen and you pounded a 2-liter bottle of water. Well, your wrist is going to swell, not only with the temperature, but also with your hydration. So if you need that extra comfort, all you need to do is just reach under this clasp and just pull it straight out. There you go. There's another half an Oyster link to give you extra comfort so that this watch is no longer a tourniquet on your wrist. And you can continue to wear it. When you no longer need it, you can simply just fold it back in on itself, press it into the clasp, and it snaps in nice and easy. Very easy there. All right, and while we're here, I can actually try it on, give you my thoughts as to how it wears on the wrist. Now, I measured 7 inches in circumference on my wrist, and so again, if you've seen my videos, you'll know I love 36mm. To me, that's the nice, perfect sweet spot. 42mm, gigantic on my wrist, but you know, if you have a wrist larger than mine, certainly go for it. But that's not to say that, you know, someone with my wrist or even smaller can not wear this, because it's still very nice having this extra little overhang of the lugs, because you do get a little bit of extra breathing room, and certainly it's not going to slide under a suit cuff that easily, but with all the function in here, it's hard to say no. You can have plenty of breathing room with the Oyster bracelet because the space among all of these links makes it incredibly easy to wear, very comfortable as well, utilitarian and elegant in its presentation. All right, so if you have a larger wrist, this will sit flush pretty much on your wrist. There won't be any overhang of the lugs. They make this specifically, well, they may have, they may not have, but it fits larger wrists a little bit better than mine just because of the way that the lugs are sort of pointed outward, not so much downward. All right, so certainly not a bad thing either way, because you do get a more secure fit on a thicker wrist, but on a thinner wrist you get more breathing. Pros and cons to each? Well, I just see pros to each. Okay, very comfortable wear, but I must say that there is plenty on the top of the wrist because there's a lot of weight within this movement. Again, this is the most complex movement that Rolex has ever made, with all of those functions that I demonstrated earlier. Makes it very heavy. The counterbalance of this bracelet, even though it is white gold, will still not be enough to basically center the gravity on your wrist. So this is not a sports watch, but this is certainly something that you would wear anywhere where you're not really moving around all that much. So just certainly, as is in the namesake, it is a Sky-Dweller. It's for people who travel on airplanes frequently. Again, as you saw, the movement of the hour hand allows you to track time zones for your local time while also maintaining your GMT or your home time zone, for example. All right. So looking at on the wrist as well, I almost forgot, this looks extremely elegant, very distinctive with those index, or not index, the Roman numeral hour markers. Gives a very sort of like Art Deco look, but very distinctive with that ivory white, because it's not a complete full-on white. It's the sort of off-whiteness that really gives it that sense of refinement, a sense of taste, knowing that you know exactly what you're going for because you're not settling for just plain white. You're going for something off-white, something with a little bit more character, something that fits in with this white gold overall presentation. And since you have white gold, it's easy to wear this as potentially an everyday wear watch, especially if you're traveling on airplanes very frequently. You will want to wear this every day because not only do you have your local time zone very easily settable, you have your calendar and your home time zone always represented here. 72-hour power reserve, you're not going to have this run out of power on you anytime soon. And with the way that this overall look sort of brings together everything into a single cohesive package, it's a very elegant watch that will sort of blend in as being a steel watch. So you certainly do have that sort of sense of security, and you're basically not going around saying, hey, rob me. This is more sort of function with form, form and function working together in unity. All right. Anyway, that's all I have to say about this watch. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Be sure to like this video if you learned something. Maybe you learned something about how this watch works, and maybe you would want to consider this as your next watch. Let us know down in the comments below. More so, hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you can be notified when we go live with another video like this one. And as always, if you'd like to purchase this watch or any other watch, any other Sky-Dweller, discontinued like this one, or perhaps one in production currently, perhaps maybe the new one with the Jubilee bracelet, hit us up at our website, jazztime.com. Links in the description below. You can buy this. You can look at our photos, nice and beautiful. And most importantly, you can help support us there mostly by purchasing your next watch at jazztime.com. We'll see you in the next one, and take care.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.